Hi, everybody. This is Pastor Tim, and it's On the Trail with Pastor Tim. And I hope you're praying for John and I, because when you watch this, we'll be on our way to Guatemala, and I'm so excited about it. I have fallen in love with Guatemala, but it's because of John Cox. I can't even remember how many trips I've done. He probably can't remember either. But John, just tell us a Guatemala story. God has done just incredible things in the time I've seen it, and he's seen it far longer than me.
Yeah, I think probably the most amazing thing about Guatemala and our trips is God always puts the perfect people on our trip. And so we've gone and we just get into situations where we walked into one bamboo hut on a house call, and there was a lady dying of respiratory illness. And the doctor I had with me had just lost her mom to respiratory illness. And just connecting with people. We had another young teenager that went with us, and her mom had been battling breast cancer and had a real difficult course. And she was working a triage station. You remember that? And a young girl came through. She was crying. She said, "What's wrong? How can I help you?" Her mom had just died of breast cancer. And so it just seems like God makes these connections. He gets the right people on our trip for the right things we're about to encounter. And I think this trip's no different than that. It's always the very perfect team that God wants for that individual trip. And so I'm excited to see what comes up next week.
I had never gone on I had gone on missionary trips in many countries, but never gone on one that was a medical missionary trip. So the first time I went on one, this is like my dream. Now I'm not medical in any way, but I'm medical to the fact that I show up at the hospital a lot, and I have been a hospital chaplain, and I pray over people. But the partnership between doctors and nurses and people, but John's vision came into place that he had gone to Guatemala on a missionary trip and came across a very sick child, right?
Yeah, I was there. I'm actually building stoves. So the Guatemalans usually cook on open fires in their houses. And so they have a lot of respiratory issues from breathing the smoke. So I was working with a lady, a widower with 4 kids. This was 6 years ago. And her and I built her stove together throughout the week. And she was my age and just a real strong woman, outworked me all week long, embarrassed me, in fact. And at the end of the week, we delivered her stove. We put it in her shelter, her house. We piped out the smoke. We took a picture in front of it, and we were so excited. It's the high point of the trip. And then every time I look at this picture, I think of that. When we walked outside her house, there was her daughter, who was probably about a 1.5 years old, just laying face down in her vomit and just too weak to even lift her head up. And that was really the turning point. That's when that night I started talking with the village leaders that, I can mix cement and build stoves and water filters, but, I think what you could really use me for, what God maybe needs to use me for, is to bring people together to go down there and help sick kids so we never have to see something like that again. And that's what we do, and it's probably the highest compliment we've gotten. A lot of these kids have parasites, so we'll deworm 700-800 kids while we're down there. We put them on vitamins, and the kids' behavior, energy levels change dramatically. Their appetites pick back up. And on our last trip, it was pretty remarkable. We were meeting with the village leaders just before we were starting clinic, and they made the comment, I don't know if you remember, but we said, how's it going? How are we doing? And they said the kids live more. And I said, what do you mean by that? Are they more active? Are they doing better in school? What do you mean by that? And they said, no, more live. And man, what a moment that was for the whole team.
That's what's remarkable to me, because literally we are saving physical lives. And another thing that I love as a pastor, we're working with local churches. There's an incredible church right there that's part of what we do. And yeah, you guys are really used to bad photography, but John's not.
You're getting on me and less you, so let's turn that.
Oh, by the way, John has rules for me when I go to Guatemala. They kind of go like that: don't go off by yourself, and don't drink the coconut water, which some of these I have broken.
You break them all.
Don't feed the dogs.
Yeah, I have to put chaperones on you.
Yeah. Oh, see, there's another one. Oh, don't eat from street vendors. All those kind of things like that. Don't be adventuresome. Anyway, but it's just a beautiful thing. There's a story I have to tell. So I'm on one of these planning trips, and the planning trips are, we respect the people enough to go there and hear what they want, what they think isn't working, what is working,
Mhm.
and plan for the next trip. So when we bring these medical people and we bring you, I know some of you want to come, we are ready. We know exactly what's doing. We're working together. It's not our clinic. It is everybody's clinic. The town we work in, they're fully involved. They're providing security. They're getting people ready. They're setting up times and all that. So we're we're on. John's just not worse at terrible photography. Anyway, but we go there once, and there's this building, and I believe it used to belong to a sugarcane plantation. It had been abandoned, and they'd been given to the town, and the town was giving it to Mission Impact, and they wanted to make a medical clinic out of it. And I remember the door opening up and being hit by the smell because the building was filled with bats, and man, it felt like a nightmare movie, like a horror movie. They're all flying around, and I'm a minister, so I want to say there was a million of them, but that's probably not truthful. Anyway, but I converted them all. No, and told them to leave, be gone, darkness. No, but it was filled with back poop and all of the things like that. And then they said, we want to turn this into a clinic. If you go there today, there is 3 doctor rooms. There's a couple bathrooms. There's a, uh, a pharmacy out
Mhm.
front. There's a home in back of it in which a staff member, a PA, a medical staff lives there and works every week, right? There is a soccer field beside it that kids come and play basketball and soccer on. There's a playground near there as well that they were building the last time we were there. It's incredible what God has done. So when I looked at it through American eyes, oh, I don't know. They looked at it and said, this could become a medical clinic. Our God is the God of the impossible. Often, many of you donated money, but all that money went over there. A little tiny bit of money in Guatemala goes a
Mhm.
giant way, and it is amazing what God has done. Not only did John see the vision of this little child, I got to come back and take care of her, and others like her, and then suddenly it became a clinic, and then it became uh, a staff member there, and then it became care. So when COVID hit, they were ready. Us
Mhm.
Americans could not go there. We could not do those missionary trips, but something was being done for the people. God knew and was prepared for it. So thank you. I hope you're all praying for us, and thank you, John.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.